It's Bondzee Live. Trippin With Bondzee on YouTube.
What a maniac. Could you imagine being at a party and seeing some dude just do a full-on dive right through that glass window? Oh my goodness, that's awesome. What a way to start. Welcome to the show. Stone 1A says, late as usual. Yeah, well, there's reasons. We got some technical difficulties, and listen, things just, this is the way they go sometimes. Technology is what it is, right, buddy? All right. Listen, we got a great show for you coming up tonight. We've got a great guest. He's in the waiting room right now. It's Jonas from the band The Wilderness. Can't wait to talk to him. It's really exciting stuff. We're going to play some footage of a show they just did 3 days ago, folks. The show, from what I've heard, it was like mind-blowing and magical. So I can't wait to talk to him about it. Really looking forward to it. All right, Thursday, we've got a great show coming up for you, too. We got, sticking with the Kingston music theme. That's just the way it happened. But we got Cassador lead singer Cam joining us as well. So really looking forward to that. And then next Thursday, only one show next week. And next Thursday, we got Beer League Beauty. You got to check her out. She's absolutely awesome. She'll be joining us on the show next Thursday. And we'll be live from, of all places, Buffalo, New York. It's a long story. Don't ask. Anyways, I'll be on the road Tuesday night, so I won't be able to do the show, but we'll see you Thursday for sure. And we'll have Beer League Beauty joining us, folks. You can't miss us. She's awesome. Check her out on Instagram at Beer League Beauty. All right. The show's brought to you by, tonight we got Shakespeare's Fine Dining, folks. As always, love this place. If you are in the Hamilton area, or even if you're in Toronto, make the trip up. Go to Shakespeare's Fine Dining. It's the best place ever. They got the best steak, the best scallops. The old man's been cooking there for 50 years since he's owned it. Please make a reservation. 905-528-0689. It's Shakespeare's. www.shakespeares.ca. Go check them out online. Book a reservation on there as well. Or get yourself some gift cards, maybe for your friends, your loved ones. Who knows? All right. The show's also brought to you by Above Your Service. This is a great service. It's a not-for-profit organization that is veteran-based and caters to healing, health, and wellness for all the people that need it out there. It's an amazing company that was started by a friend of mine, Bryce Hooper, Canadian vet, who's fully dedicated to helping people out. It's Above Your Service. Please go to Facebook, check them out there, subscribe, help them out any way you can, whether it's your volunteer time or monetary value. It would be great. Above Your Service. They're the best. All right, we're going to switch things up a little bit here tonight because I don't want to keep my guest waiting and sitting there all night. He's been gracious to jump in early and to give us our time. So I'm just going to fast forward to my notes here. Don't worry, I'm going to get to my Greta Thunberg rant and also let you know what I was up to. Supposed to do yesterday. It didn't happen, so we're going to do it Thursday now. So you're going to have to wait an extra couple of days to find out what old Bonzarelli is up to next. All right, as previously mentioned right off the top of the show, we got a great guest, Jonas Lewis Anthony from the band The Wilderness. Welcome to Trippin With Bondzee on YouTube. How are you, my friend?
I'm excellent, man. How are you?
Yeah, really good. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. I know you must be still riding this awesome high from the show you did the other night. I know it went amazingly, but and before we get into all that, is that something that is still like, are you still running on the adrenaline from a show like that?
I sure am. The only downside is I haven't unloaded the trailer yet, and that's going to be on the agenda for after the show tonight. So,
okay,
hopefully I can just get the last bit of adrenaline to get all the shit inside.
Right. And you got to do that by yourself or what?
No, that's why I've been waiting to do it until tonight because all the boys are here, and we're gonna drink some beers and get it unloaded, and probably start playing some music again tonight. Keep the adrenaline pumping.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. You guys deserve it, and keep riding it because it certainly was a special show. And like I said, we'll get into that. But let's talk about music. You guys are all in Kingston right now, I presume, hanging out?
Yeah. So for the last 4 or 5 months, we've been renting a place out in the country. And it's just like the kind of the stars aligned, you know. We were looking for a place that we could kind of set up and rehearse and hang out and make music. And we're all in Kingston. And and we all live in Kingston, and my girlfriend, the rest of the bandmates' girlfriends, we all I don't know. It would be it's kind of it's challenging to find a place to rehearse and to make noise, and I know for sure that my girlfriend wouldn't appreciate us doing that in our house.
Sure.
So we had a rehearsal space in Kingston for a very long time, and unfortunately that closed down. So when that was closing down, we started looking for somewhere else that we could find, like a garage, a workshop, or anything that we could find to just make noise. And then I stumbled across this place on a listing on Kijiji in the country, and thank goodness the landlords were like, yeah, sure, we'll rent it to you. So they rented this place for us for 6 months. Our lease is up at the end of March, but from October till March, we've been out here more or less every day making music, rehearsing, playing, recording. Sometimes I just come out here and hang out with my dog, and it's been amazing. It's really been amazing.
That's great. It's such an awesome music scene in Kingston. Is all the band born and raised in Kingston, or is it a place that you all sort of amalgamated to and met there?
Yeah, exactly. Like none of us are from Kingston.
Is that right?
I grew up in the UK. Nick, the sax player, he grew up in Guelph. Carl, the bass player, he was born in Vancouver, but he grew up in Finland and Chicago and Toronto and everywhere in between. Liam keys and Henry drums, they're both from Vermont, and they came up to Canada for school to go to university. The only member of our band who is from Kingston, born and raised, is Max, our guitar player. But we all just kind of ended up here at some point, whether that was for school or jobs or whatever. And then the band started, and we all stuck around here.
So you all met in Kingston once you got there? Was there anybody that sort of knew each other before, or was it all just sort of chance in meetings in Kingston?
We got pretty lucky. Like the band was formed because we met at an open mic in January 2015. So I was working at this place called Musiki Cafe at the time. It was a cold, snowy night, like pretty similar to the weather we're having right now, and nobody was out and about. And then Carl and Henry, and then our old guitar player Sasha walked through the door, and they were like the only people there because it was minus 30 and snowing like crazy outside. But I was working there, and I was like, all right, well, you guys are here, we may as well, I don't know, play some music or something. So we ended up playing for a couple hours, and I knew them peripherally because from just like around. I didn't know them personally. I wasn't like friends with them, but I'd met Henry at one point. I met Carl at one point, but we weren't friends. We just kind of, knew each other enough to say, hey, because we recognized each other. So after that open mic, I was like, hey, that was great. Right.
Yeah.
Let's fucking start a band. I basically begged them to start a band. And the next day we had our first rehearsal, and I had this elaborate lie that I have like a studio and like blah blah blah. I didn't have fucking anything. I was just renting a little like a basement in like an industrial area in town where I could just play my guitar really loud because I was living in a tiny apartment at the time, and it was like $100 a month. It was like super cheap. That place is long gone. But so the next day I was like, oh God, I really need to make sure that these guys don't think I'm an idiot. So I borrowed a drum set from my boss, which we ended up losing, and he still mentions that to me from time to time in good spirit though. But
right on.
Basically, the next day we had a rehearsal, and that was that.
So take me back, a musical family background for yourself, or is it something you just took upon yourself and thought, hey, I want to play the guitar and pick up chicks?
You know what? It was School of Rock. Honestly, it was fucking School of Rock. So my parents loved music, but neither of them were really musicians per se. The apple's fallen quite far from the tree. My mum teaches human rights law, and my dad was an Anglican preacher. So
wow.
Yeah. So there's me, I think age 12, 13, and I see School of Rock and I say, that's the fucking coolest thing in the world. I'm going to do that one day.
That's incredible.
So I grew up in a household that appreciated music. Like my dad loves the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and my mom loves like Bruce Springsteen. And like I grew up listening to a lot of music, but like I kind of just fell into it by by accident, really, just from seeing stuff that I liked, you know.
Yeah. Was your priest father happy with your choice to pursue music at a certain age? When, like, how did you break it to him and go, Dad, I'm not really going to college or doing this? Or maybe you did finish college, but when you
I
told
didn't
him
even
you were
go to
going to be a
college.
musician for a living, how did that go over?
So there was never really that exact conversation with like, oh, I'm not doing X, I'm doing Y. It was just kind of my teenage years just really sort of revolved that way. You know what I mean? It was like my parents had a pretty good understanding of like, okay, Jonas he's sticking to it. And my thing growing up was that like I'd pick up 1,000 different things and never stick to any of them. So I showed like an aptitude for music and like a passion for it. And my parents were like, great, you know, like,
Yeah, for sure.
you know, because I dropped out of fucking everything in my life. You know, I sucked at school. I played a lot of sports. The only one I really liked was rugby. But like everything that I kind of started, I was just like, unless I was good at it, I kind of just let it fall to the wayside. So, you know, there was definitely a time when I was like, you know, 18, 17, 18, when I was like, I'm going to drop out of my final year of high school to do this. And my parents were like, hang on a second, like you got to fucking finish this part, you know? But no, they were super cool with it. They were like, yeah, man, just don't get into trouble and don't go to jail, you know?
Awesome. Yeah, not bad advice, really.
Yeah. And I've stayed out of trouble. So, and I haven't been to
Yeah.
jail.
Perfect. So I got to ask, you pick up the guitar, how old were you? And was it something that came easy? And so you just, continued to thrive on it? Because I've been at this guitar thing here in my bedroom where I'm trying to get better, and I'm terrible at it. But I've worked really hard and I've seen progression. But was it something that just came really easy for you?
It's interesting. Like I still suck at guitar and I've just surrounded myself by musicians who
Well,
are like
that's the best way to
way
do it. Good
better
for
than me.
you.
So, um, I actually, when I was in my first year of high school, I lied to a bunch of older kids who wanted to start a band and told them I played drums, and I fucking sucked. And they were really nice, God bless them. And they were like, yeah, you know what? You're not very good at drums, but is there anything else you play? And I was like, I'll play bass. And they were like, okay. So I like begged and begged and begged my parents for a bass guitar, and they ended up getting me one for like my 12th or 13th birthday or something. So I started playing bass, and I picked bass up really quickly. And then I I really wanted, like, I'm like such an impatient person. I was like, I need to fucking go out and play it in front of people, but like I couldn't take my bass and play just me and a bass. So I think my dad or maybe my mum had an old classical guitar, and like found under their bed or something. So I was like, okay, sick. So I learned like a couple of chords, and as soon as I could play 4 chords, I ended up going and playing on the street, like in my hometown when I was like
Wow.
12 or 13, because there was a big community of people who did that. And I was like, sweet, they're doing it. This wasn't my thought
Get a
process,
good
but I
tip.
was too young to be in a bar, and I didn't even know what a music venue was, So I was like, I see people playing music on the street. That's what I'm going to do. So I did that. And I guess the main problem with my guitar playing ability is I got good enough to do the basics very, very quickly. And then I was like, oh, the basics are sick. I can do the damn thing now. I can fucking sing and play a Green Day song. That's fine, And it's a kind of embarrassing, but also, whatever. I actually started taking guitar lessons last year around about this time, because I was like, I plateaued so quickly, and I was like, I call myself a guitarist, but like I I don't really know anything about the guitar,
Well, you pull it off really well on stage, and we'll get to some video and some photos in a minute. But let's jump back into the band, the Wilderness. So there's a bunch of you. There's Nick, as you mentioned, on sax, guitar, keys. You got Tonu Carl on bass, Hank Lawrence on drums and vocals, and Liam Neal on keys and percussion.
Yeah.
You guys all meet, as you say, at the open mic and stuff. You form a band the next day. Um, how does the process? How do you get the name the Wilderness between 6 guys? How does that? Lock yourself in a room and have a brawl over it, or?
It's actually hilarious, man. Like the very first rehearsal that we had, that next day, like we just fumbled our way through some tunes, and I was like, okay, sick. Like, so we're a band now. Cool. And I was like, so what are we going to call this band? And at that point, I don't even know if anyone was like really into it or not, or whether they were just like humoring me, being like, yeah. But Carl just goes, what about the Wilderness? And we were like, yeah, sick. That works. It was literally the first one we never
Wowee.
It was just like, I think he'd just been watching a documentary called Alone in the Wilderness. So it was like fresh in his mind. And I was like, yeah, cool. That works. Great. I was just so impatient to just get going that I never really gave it a second thought.
That's pretty wild. It's a great name. I love it. You guys really have established something. You've got a really cool, unique sound. It's got the indie rock mix vibe. It hits hard, but it also, can really, hit real soft. Is that something you guys crafted together and talked about a certain sound that you wanted to have as a band?
That's a good question, because it's taken us a long time to kind of get to a point where we're kind of making music that really sort of feels like it's us, because in the early days, I was so impatient. I was like, okay, that's a song. Great. We can play it. Cool. Let's go and do the thing. And because we were drawing influences from all over the place, for a while, it felt like our music kind of was all over the place. Like, I would write songs on an acoustic guitar and then bring them to the band, and it would go from there. But I think like our sort of ethos, I guess you could say, is that like, if you could take away everything apart from the acoustic guitar and the vocal and still be like, okay, that's a good song, and B, that's a Wilderness song, then it sort of passes the test, so to speak. But it's still something that we're kind of working out to this day, like our set, our live show, like our songs, there's still like a lot of diversity. Not that that's a bad thing, but I feel like in the past 2 years in particular, we've really kind of like come into our own of like, this is how a Wilderness song should sound. And at the very core of that is just, it's got to be a fucking good song that tells a good story,
Yeah. You mentioned the writing process. You said you write and bring songs to the band. How does that work with five guys? And is it something that you figured out quickly, and it's just one or two guys writing, or is it a whole a collection of you?
It's actually a bunch of us, like for a while it was myself and Carl who wrote most of the songs. And then for a while it was kind of me. And then I went through a phase where I just couldn't write anything at all. So it was Carl. But recently, Nick has been writing like some of what I think are our best fucking songs.
Wow.
And it's a really collaborative effort, because I get really stuck and I get really in my own head. So I never really have like a fully formed idea for a song when I bring it to the guys. I'm like, hey, I have like a verse and a chorus and maybe a few chords. What do you guys think? And more or less everybody is able to, like, at this stage, like, we know each other well enough that we can kind of just like bounce ideas off each other without it being weird and, oh, try this and try that. And another thing that we always say is like, you may have written the song, but by the time you present it to the band, it's not your song anymore. It's the Wilderness's song.
Yeah.
And that was a struggle for all of us for a while, to kind of let go of those things. But like, I always think that everybody else in the band is 10 times the musician that I'll ever be. And I trust them like totally. And had I been left to my own devices with some of the songs that I'd written that are now Wilderness songs, they would not sound anywhere near as good as they do now.
Yeah. Well, and that's the beauty of music and getting together as a band and having talented musicians. Everybody sort of has their own role, so to speak. And I think the better you guys figure it out, or any band for that matter, I think the simpler it'll be for a band, and the longevity will be there as well, right?
Absolutely, man. I'm like, I feel so lucky that somehow we all met, and 8 years on, this still works, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. Like I'm so grateful that I'm surrounded by not only my best friends, but some of the best musicians that I know,
Yeah, you guys are all super talented in your own right. The saxophone, man, were they all out of the bigger saxophones, by the way? Because the one that your bandmate plays, that thing is ginormous, by the way.
And that's not even the biggest size that they have, like
Is
when
that
we were
right?
Dude, when we were in Vancouver, over the summer, we had a day off on tour, and Nick took a bus like across town and took like this whole excursion to go play a bass saxophone, which is basically as tall as he is.
Right.
So he plays the baritone, which is the one in that picture, the tenor, and the alto. And then he went and played this crazy bass saxophone in Vancouver. And I was
Wow.
like, I don't even know how you lift that thing up, man. It's taller than I am.
Right. I got to talk about the harmonies for a minute. You
Yeah.
guys, you got it down pat. I mean, there's a bunch of you that sing, and is that something you really got to work on too, as a band from right from the beginning, and that you still do, or is it something that once you get it and you know it, it just kind of just happens?
You know what, man? It's still a work in progress. We all have quite different voices, and Nick is really, really good at like picking out whose voice sounds good where and like helping us orchestrate them. For me, it's really easy because I just get to sing and not pay too much attention. But for
Yeah.
like for Hank and Nick and Max, it's like they've got a lot of work, so I've got to give them credit. But like it's taken a long time, and we've done a lot of like practices where it's just us singing, like no instruments, no nothing, just trying to get the notes to be in key and to blend with each other. And yeah, it's one of those things you just got to keep working on it. There's some bands, who I'm so envious of, their brothers or their cousins, or they're related somehow, so their fucking vocal cords like share the same DNA to a certain degree and they sound just amazing.
Yeah.
For us, it's been a bit more of a challenge, but like it's a work in progress, as sort of anything is musically, and we just have to keep at it. We do stretches and warm-ups together before the show too, and that really helps as well.
Yeah, cool. Do you you guys travel a lot in vans? I forgot to put up the picture, but there's this great picture of you all in a van. But even like before I get to that point, to like you talking about the camaraderie, and you guys, you're so lucky to spend time with these guys. And all these pictures that I'm sort of popping up here, you could just sort of see the brotherhood that you guys have, and even in those photos. And I know there's sort of moments for photo shoots and this and that, but you could still get that sense, it's pretty cool.
Man, like these guys are the best friends I have ever had and probably ever will have, and it just like we just adore each other.
Yeah.
Like it was a couple years ago, we got back from tour and we were away for like I don't know, like a month and a half, maybe just shy of 2 months. And we were driving across the US, driving across Canada, and we got home, unloaded the van, and bearing in mind, we just done like a ridiculous, like 4-day straight drive to get home. Got home, unloaded the van, and I was just sitting there twiddling my thumbs, and I got a text. I don't remember who it was from, and it was just like, pint. And then like half an hour later, like we all were down at the pub together, like having
Awesome.
a beer. And like, it's just, if the band broke up today, let's say hypothetically, worst case scenario, everyone's like, I'm fucking done. It would have been the best 8 years of my life with like the best people.
Wow.
And I think we'd be friends forever. Like I just, that
That's
is
pretty
almost
awesome.
more important to me than the music itself, because one of the reasons why I love doing this so much is because it's so much fun to be around these guys. And it would fucking suck to be in a band with people you didn't like,
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. It just wouldn't work at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing you all really do like each other, because you mentioned touring around in a van, 2 months on the road, and as you mentioned, van, not some fancy big ass tour bus and stuff.
No.
It must be really cool memories and stuff, and special times when you're all traveling together in a van, and making these memories, eh?
Oh man, we've had some crazy memories in vans. Like we've it's kind of crazy actually. It's like, and it's again like 100% my fault, but we've had like 6 vans over the last 8 years, because a lot of the time we had like $400. What fucking piece of shit
Sure.
van can we buy with $400?
Yeah.
We drive into the ground. But yeah, like I've spent the majority of my 20s in a van with these guys, and we've
Wow.
had some times where the van breaks down in Colorado at the top of a fucking mountain, or we got stuck in the snow in -30 in Timmins. Like
Sounds awful.
it was bad. There was a week straight where we got kind of stranded it was like more like 5 days. We drove all the way from Omaha, Nebraska, overnight to Austin, Texas, for a show that never happened, and then we planned 5 days off in Austin, because Austin's this great music city, but because the show
Sure
fell
is.
through, like everything just kind of went to shit. So we spent 5 days sleeping in our van in like, it was like a 42 degrees Celsius day and like
Wow.
30 degrees at night. It was like so fucking hot. And it was just the best time ever, man. It was the best time ever. You get to know people really quickly and really well by spending a couple of hours or a couple of months in a van with them.
For sure. Is there no farting rule? Do you have some sort of fun that, or no, it's just a free for all, is it?
No, unfortunately, it would be
It's on,
impossible. It would be impossible
right?
to enforce that rule.
Oh, that's awesome. Let's talk about the show the other night. We've been popping up pictures. Listen, I've had a bunch of friends that were at the show. You streamed it live, which I thought was a great idea. And I've heard nothing but rave reviews about this
Oh,
show.
awesome.
Yeah, and then we started off by talking, you're still riding the adrenaline from it. It was as magical to you guys, I guess, as it was to the crowd, because that was sort of the feedback that I got. People were just blown away, dude, by this performance. That's pretty awesome.
Thanks, man. It was, I think probably our best show we've ever played. Like, the lights were amazing. Our lighting guy, Pete, Spicy P, we call him, absolutely killed it. The venue was amazing. It's
Isabel's, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It was a bit different vibe though, because people were seated, which we're not really used to. We're also used to playing in bars where people are like, doing their own thing and kind of having to fight for attention, but people were like seated and looking at us and paying. Yeah, it was really cool. And it sounded great. Like, our sound guy, Jeff, did an amazing job. And also, like, I had, again, me, I had this crazy idea of like, okay, if we're going to be playing at this like really fancy venue, we should like do it with an orchestra. And Nick was like, dude, first of all, we're broke. Second of all, you have no idea how much that's going to cost. Like, third of all, have you any idea like how insane and how much work that is? And I'm like, I don't know anything about music. So Nick and Henry found, and Liam tracked down these 4 Queen students who played the violin, cello, and viola, and they wrote string parts for them. So we were just like, this is an amazing venue. It sounds great. We want to do something a little bit different from like our previous shows. We want to do something special for this venue. So we played a show with a string section, and wow, man, it like blew me away. It's been a lot of work. It took a couple of months to get there, and it was just fucking worth every second. It was like hearing our songs for the first time, like it was just amazing.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, and that was my next question. Whose idea was that to come up with the strings and behind the scenes? But then whose idea was it? Was it a collective band agreement to live stream the show?
So the Isabel, during COVID, totally like invested in doing all the live stream stuff. So they were like, do you want to live stream it? And I was like, hell yeah, it'd be amazing. So they have like this state of the art facility. So the whole thing was recorded and live streamed. So right now we have all the audio from that, and we're going to give it a mix, and we're probably going to release like a live album, live video, because aside from the Isabel live streaming it as well, we had our friend Celine, who owns a company called Jamstone Productions, filming the whole thing as well. So our goal with that performance is to just release like a live at the Isabel video with like behind the scenes stuff and like background stories in each song, and then the performance, and that's kind of the project. And we have at this space on in the country where we're renting, we've got like a little studio set up, and I was just like mixing the audio today, and I was like, oh my fuck, this sounds really good, and I don't know what I'm doing, so I can't wait to finish that and put it out.
Awesome. Well, we have a bit of the show right here. Do you mind if we roll some of it?
Go right ahead.
Do it.
I want to die just like you. I want to die 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 like you. But I never wanted to influence the internet. I wanted you, now I have nothing left. I hated the fame and the neon signs. Now I'm here without you. I don't know where I showbiz, baby.
Fantastic, my guy. I
Oh,
love
thanks,
it.
man.
Absolutely love it. So, I mean, again, the feedback was phenomenal. Huge shout out to Lori BF. She is a big, big fan of yours. She's been promoting you all over the place. She's how I found out about you guys, and she was also pushing me. Oh, you got to get him on the show. You got to get him on the show. So, and it was one of those things. I reached out. You said yes right away. So, huge thanks to Lori. And again, she's your biggest fan, and
I
I'm
love
glad you
Lori.
took the time to come on. She
She's
is
the
something
best.
special, isn't she?
She is the fucking best, man. Like, she has been to so many wilderness shows over the years, and like I always like scan the crowd at every single one to see if she's there. She's made crazy drives to come. She must have heard these songs more times than I have. You know what I mean? Like, and she's there every time, her and Lorne, and fuck, people like Lori are, I mean, they're the reason why we keep doing this, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Any new music coming up in the future? I know you guys, your last single was I have it right here, Christina.
Yeah. So
And great video, by the way. It's pretty funny.
thank you. Yeah, that was like, filming that video was just humiliating myself for basically an entire week.
That's some outfit, mister.
Thank you very much. I just didn't want to take myself too seriously. So
Yeah.
we really leaned into just making me look like a real piece of shit, which was honestly so much fun.
Hilarious. Wow.
Yeah, so we put Christina out last March. The long and the short of it is we're working our asses off on new music. We've written 34 new songs. We're in the process right now of just going through each and every one of them, seeing which ones we really like, seeing which ones, maybe are yes, no's, seeing which ones are like, nah, maybe not this time. And then the plan is to record an album this year and put out a new record because we're fucking ready to go. We're raring to go.
Yeah, it sounds like it for sure. 34 songs. So out of that, I would imagine, and I'm not in the music scene, never been in, well, I was in a band in high school, but it's not the same. Out of 34 songs, realistically, is it going to be pretty easy to put together an album sooner than later because of the fact that you got so many songs ready to go?
The material isn't necessarily the problem. I think we will probably slim down that all those songs to 10 that we think are the absolute best. The big one is actually like finding the money and the time to do it properly. And I know I've said this a lot during this chat, but like I am like our own worst enemy insofar as I'm so impatient all the time. So I'm taking a lot of self-control to try and like take our time and try not to rush it because we want to do it right. And we've rushed through things in the past. Our first full-length album, I love it so much, and it's still one of the things that I'm most proud of. But we recorded 12 songs in 9 days, and then COVID happened, and we went into lockdown. And then instead of just sort of like writing it out, and then going back and doing edits and whatever, we were like, "Fuck it, it's done. Just put it out." So the big thing is sort of getting the funding together and the time to do it properly and make sure we take our time with it, make sure that we're like everything is it will never be perfect, but as close to perfect as we can get it in terms of like the recording, the mixing, the mastering, and the press, the release. Cause we want it to an album costs a ton of money that we don't necessarily have. And we just want to put out something that like we're really, really proud of and that will carry us through, the next year or two. So
yeah.
We're all crossing our fingers that opportunity is going to come this year because we're all ready to go.
You guys played a ton of shows. You were known as a huge gigging band, like over 500 live shows, but pre-COVID. What was that like when all of a sudden, like whammo, you don't get to really hang with your buddies anymore? You're not out playing music and having fun. It must have been a real shock for a band that plays so many live shows together.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like 2020 was shaping up to be this amazing year. Like we had this European tour offer and like the funding to do it. Like we were like working on this album and blah, 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 blah. And then, just like the rug got swept out from under our feet as it did for everyone, and I just went fucking crazy. Like I'm not good at sitting still.
Right.
my poor girlfriend, she was just so patient with me because, every other day it would be like, I can't do this anymore, or I'm really enjoying making baguettes today, or I'm gonna start gardening, or just like fucking whatever. But like, yeah, it was tough, man. But like, I tell you one thing, when touring and shows came back, it gave us all a new appreciation for how lucky we are to do what we do. And, you know, I don't feel like I can take it for granted anymore. And we were the first like full show that we did back, after all of that was just like the best thing. And I think despite it being really, really hard for everybody, not just in this band, but for everybody everywhere, I think COVID actually, as much as it sucked, was actually a pretty good thing for the band. Not the virus itself, but like we needed to hit pause, because we were just fucking bashing our heads
yeah.
like over and over and over again. And like, there's that whole thing of like work smarter, not harder. And having that time off kind of gave us the ability to be like, okay, what is working, what isn't working, and how can we do it better?
Yeah. Music is something special that we all need in our lives, and that COVID thing certainly threw a wrench in it. But like you said, it did suck for sure, but I think a lot of good came out of it for a lot of bands, almost every band who sort of, are look now after that happened and go, man, we are so goddamn lucky to be doing what we do, and have the fans that we have and make great music. And because music it feeds our soul every single day, bro. And I'm thankful for bands like you and singers like yourself that bring us that great music each and every day.
Man, thank you. That means a lot to me. I'm just so glad that I get to do this. It's like, 12-year-old me watching School of Rock. If you told him that, a couple years from now you'll actually be doing this, fuck, I wouldn't have believed it. So it's a privilege. It really is. Never take it for granted.
Before I let you go, favorite gig, favorite place you've ever played at, or like the worst fucking dump place you've ever played at and you'll never go back?
Okay, there's a couple. Favorite place, Horseshoe Tavern in Toronto.
Awesome.
The Isabel where we just played the other night. That was amazing. Rockwood Music Hall in New York City. There's the good news is there's a ton of amazing venues that we've played. Worst venue that I will never go fucking back to as long as I'm alive. Fuck, Molly Bloom's in London, Ontario. Fuck that place.
No way.
I hate that place with every fiber of my fucking soul.
Good for you.
Yeah, no, that was terrible. I'm sure there's more. We played in one bar in Oklahoma City that was pretty fucking terrifying. It doesn't exist anymore, so there's no worries there. But
yeah,
the good news is there's way more good venues than there are bad venues. But fucking Molly Bloom's in London, fuck that place.
Wow. Fuck them.
Sorry.
Right.
Sorry.
Do you ever get to go back and play? Where are you from in England? I never asked you.
I'm from Canterbury, southeast England. I was just back at Christmas, and I've never been over there with this band yet.
Wow. Okay. That was going to ask if you got to play over there yet.
We're dying to get over there. And only my mum and my younger sister, the people in my family who've seen the Wilderness play. Like, I've got 3 sisters. My dad hasn't seen us yet. My 2 other sisters haven't seen us yet. None of my friends from school have seen us. So like, I got a chip on my shoulder. I want to go back home and show these people what we're fucking made of.
Yeah. Wow, dude, you guys are something special. Being a Kingston band, was it hard to break into the scene? I know it's a pretty big deal in Kingston, and it's a big music hub. Is there, and I'm just, pardon my ignorance, but is there like sort of a club, and was it hard to break into or be accepted into, or is it just peace and love and everybody's there to make great music and get along?
Kingston's got a great scene. At the time when we were starting out, I would say it was even more vibrant than it is now, essentially because a lot of places are still kind of like recovering, like post-pandemic and whatnot. We hit the ground running, and people were so generous and so supportive, like right from the very beginning, and we fucking sucked for a long time. So yeah, like breaking in and just like getting gigs and getting going was really, really easy. And there was a good circuit. There was a couple of venues that don't exist anymore that I wish did, that, really were the sort of beating heart of the scene at the time. And, you know, bands would come in from London, from Hamilton, from Toronto, from Ottawa, from Montreal. And, you know, you could get playing fairly frequently by opening for them. So breaking into the Kingston scene was fairly straightforward. People are really supportive of their hometown here. And that's always been great. Breaking into the sort of greater Canadian rock scene was a lot more of a challenge. But, you know, that's because, you know, you can make a name for yourself pretty quick in your own backyard, but you have to get out and grind it on the road and prove yourself to you know, strangers across the country. So we were really lucky, but it's
Awesome.
still a lot of work wherever you
Sure.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Fun work though.
It's the best fucking job in the world. Not that any of us make any
Right.
goddamn money at all, but it's the best job in the world if we did.
Sometimes it's not about the money, right?
If I was doing this for the money, I would have quit in 2015 when we started.
Yeah. One more thing before you go. Any tour dates coming up that you can announce? Anything this summer or upcoming?
We have a lot of stuff for 2023. I can't speak to it yet, but like this year is going to be really fucking busy.
Awesome.
But I also just don't know off the top of my head either. So I don't want Nick to come
No
running in
worries.
here and be like, no, you can't announce that yet. Cause
Well, they can follow you on all your social medias. You're on Instagram, at the Wilderness Kingston.
That's correct.
You're
Yeah.
also on Twitter. It's at the Wilderness CO, I believe.
The Wilderness ON. I
ON,
think.
that's right.
Yeah,
ON. Sorry,
it's
not
really
CO.
annoying. There was another band from like Slovenia who took the Wilderness band, and yeah, so we've had to. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. But yeah, like at Instagram, the Wilderness Kingston, Facebook, the Wilderness Kingston, www.thewildernessband.com. Whole bunch of places.
Find out all the tour dates and
That's right.
new stuff coming up there. All right, and all the streaming services. And make sure you go to YouTube, folks, and subscribe to them there and watch that show, the live performance from the Isabel. It really is something special. And
Thanks, man.
Craig put up, I believe it was Craig who said earlier in the comments that the video that we played didn't do it justice. But and videos generally don't. That's why you play live shows, because there's something about being there. A live stream's
Absolutely.
cool and all, but there really is something extra special about being there for sure.
There's nothing like a live show. If I could just add one last thing, on the 8th anniversary of our band, we put out an EP exclusively on our Patreon page. We recorded a bunch of songs that we had been playing since the very first rehearsal in 2015. If you want to hear it, it's on our Patreon page. We decided not to release it for streaming. It's, you know, you can sign up for as little as $1 a month and hear the whole thing. And these are like old Wilderness songs from when we were just 20-year-old kids rocking out, but we recorded them fresh last year. So that's the patreon.com/the Wilderness if you want to check that out.
That's awesome. Well, I hope people love this as much as I did. The comments have been coming in great. They love you. Lisa Holgate says, Jonas, you rock. Craig's a big fan. We got the Swamp Double guitars. Must be a friend of yours there. He says,
He's
as
my
long
savior.
as Showbiz is live and well with the Wilderness. That's awesome.
Bill Henry, my hero.
Awesome. Listen, it's been a real pleasure getting to have this chat. It was easy, and like I said, I'm a new big fan, and I can't wait to see what's coming up in the future for you guys.
Mate, thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, I do too. The future looks bright for you guys. Say hi to the band for me, and I'm sure we'll see you at a show down the road, hopefully this summer.
Absolutely, man. Rock on.
Right.
Take care. Thank you so much.
Jonas. Thank you again. Awesome, folks. Wow, what a great guy. First time we've ever really got to talk to him. Jonas Lewis Anthony, singer for the band The Wilderness out of Kingston, Ontario. What a great dude. Make sure you go check him out. Like I said, that video, the live performance from Isabel is a really, really awesome video. And the reviews from it, from all my friends that were there, they just freaked out. They were like, oh, you had to be there. It was like magical. Anyways, real pleasure talking to him for sure, and I look forward to having them back on down the road. Hopefully we'll get an announcement of a new album or some tour dates, and we'll chat again down the road for sure. All right. For some reason we lost Army. Chris was supposed to help produce the show tonight, but I've been flying solo. How am I doing? I know, not bad, eh? I think this is the second time I've produced this show in like, I don't know, 2.5 years. I've been pretty spoiled. I has been. All right, where should we go? We are 45 minutes in. What a great chat. So gracious of him to give us all that time. Anyways, make sure you go check out the band The Wilderness. And yeah, that's it. Okay, let's get to this news story. Everybody, I know you're sitting on pins and needles waiting to find out what the holy hell is going on with this dude who showed up in a restaurant promo video after he's been dead for 9 years. I was wondering the same thing. And I remember talking about it the first time we brought it up. And I was like, there was no answer to there was no ending to it. And I was so pissed off. And I thought, well, if I got suckered into that story, you're getting suckered in too. Well, turns out the next show, lo and behold, there's more to the story. And it goes on and on. Poor Miss Lucy Watson thought her husband, she thought she saw her dead husband in this video that this restaurant put out. There he is there in the circle. She says that's her husband, but how could it be sitting with her son having dinner, a nice curry, when he's been dead for 9 years? So she gets on the phone. She's a little verklempt, if you will, and upset with the restaurant, saying, you know, when is this footage from? Why are you saying it's brand new footage? And it's not. That's my husband in that video, and he's been dead for 9 years. And they're like, excuse me, ma'am. We shot this 2 weeks ago. That probably isn't your husband if you say he's been dead for 9 years. Okay? So then I find out the son comes forward, who's in the picture that I just showed you, right there. Son comes forward, says, yo, it's not me. I wasn't there. I wasn't with my dad. My dad's been dead. We buried him a long time ago. And then it also came to light that the dad was a raging alcoholic and was dying in hospital for months and months, waiting for a liver transplant that he never got because he kicked the bucket. Anyways, the story goes on. The old lady is still convinced that it's him in the video. Anyways, turns out finally, so many people saw this news story over in England that a bunch of people recognized the actual dude in the photos, and it turns out it's this guy who's bald on top and sort of looks like the dude in the restaurant there, but he's got more of a comb over and hair on top of his head. Anyways, this poor restaurant, the Spice Cottage, which apparently is a pretty fancy, good restaurant that people are just loving, turns out that this guy was the guy that was there, and it is not the dead lady's husband. Turns out poor old Miss Lucy Watson is batshit crazy, and she's seeing dead people in these promo videos. Certainly wasn't the son, because this dude, I would never leave my apartment if that was my girlfriend. Dude is doing just fine, and it certainly wasn't him with his dead father in the restaurant, okay? Aren't you glad we got to the bottom of this? You're welcome. Maybe I should go into detective work. Maybe that's what I'm going to do. Maybe I'm going to police college. I'm definitely not going to police college. I can guarantee you that. I teased the past couple shows that I was supposed to do this thing. I almost gave it away. I was supposed to go do this thing yesterday. It got canceled by the other party that is involved in said thing. So I wasn't able to go and do it, film it, and present it to you tonight. So anyways, this place told me they wouldn't be able to do it for 3 more weeks. If you know me, or if you don't know me, I don't have much patience. It has to be like, I need to do things. Things need to happen right in a row and quickly and rapidly. Okay. Anyways, I found a place that will take my ass tomorrow. So tomorrow it is. Bondzee be going to do this thing that could change the whole outcome of the rest of my entire work life. And I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. I'm pretty excited about it, and I can't wait to share it with you. All right. Greta. Let's get to Greta before we get the hell out of here. I got a couple pictures to show you, a couple of videos, and then adios skis. I got to get to bed. All right. Some big things are happening around here. I'm really looking forward to going on this trip to Buffalo. I'll tell you all about it next week when I'm there. All right. Moving on. Greta. Okay. Listen, I'm going to take it easy on her. It's sort of blown over now, but I didn't want to let it go because I'm sick and tired of seeing this smug little face all over the news but it seems like every, what do you call them? Protest thingy-mabobbers. All right. It's just enough of Greta already. I thought her whole thing, with you, whatever you want to call it, her little claim to fame would be over pretty sweet after her whole, how dare you rant. and yelling at the world at some big climate thing when she was like, I think 15 or 16 years old. Anyway, she's 20 now, and this nonsense is still going on. I guess for some reason, when she was such a big deal in her political rant, when she yelled at everybody like an adult, and we were all her little school children or something, she's garnered this some sort of following, and not just from people out there in the world, but the hierarchy, if you will, the people with the money. They're using her for a political scheme, if you will. She draws attention, folks, and these people aren't stupid. Anyways, they must pay her stupid amounts of money to just be seen in these places, because just look at these photos alone. I gotta maybe stop, because I'm gonna get too fired up. And old Bondzee, drinking Bondzee, would have got really fired up, and I'd be yelling and screaming right now and causing a ruckus. But like, just look at the look on her face. It drives me insane. Look at it. This is all photo. No protesters get dragged out like this. Oh, come with us, little Greta. Come on, we won't hurt you. Don't worry. But I've seen protests on TV and stuff. People are getting dragged out by the friggin' hair and their arms and legs, and pepper sprayed and beaten with batons. Not old Greta. Nope. They're sitting here smiling away, having a grand old time. What is this? Can somebody please explain to me what this is? Getting carried out like she's some sort of cripple or war hero that's been injured? She has 2 feet, and later on is seen here standing on her own 2 feet. She can walk. So with this farce, that's exactly what it is, a farce. Cameramen all over the place, running around trying to get the best video. Anyways, I've got proof of it, and this just makes me sick. Watch this.
You also want those for
Oh.
Wie sieht's denn aus mit der Badstraße?
I'm gonna start this again because I'm just fired up.
You also want those for
Photo op. There's no arrest. There's no nothing. Look at her laughing
Wie sieht's
away.
denn aus mit der Badstraße?
And then when she gets asked the big hard-hitting questions about actual climate control and the stuff she's up to, she giggles and laughs and has nothing to say. Anyways, this stuff like this just it drives me insane. It's nothing but a photo op. Okay, that's enough. It's enough. I don't know what else to say. She gets away with it. Doesn't she have a job? Shouldn't she be like any 20-year-old going to college, maybe working at a McDonald's or a Tim Hortons or whatever fucking donut shop they have wherever the hell she's from? And by the way, she's always ranting and raving about how she travels everywhere by boat and this and that to be keep her green impact down, or whatever the hell that terminology is. I call bullshit. There's no way that she can be this place and this place and this place. And I didn't have time to put the flight patterns together, but you can't tell me she's getting everywhere by boat and rafts. So she's putting her stamp on the environment, her carbon footprint. That's what I was looking for. You know what? Fuck Greta. I'm sick and tired of her, okay? You could take that smug little look and get back to wherever the hell you came from and go to school and get an education, or do something better with your time than getting stupid photo ops. It's some stupid protest that you don't even belong at because you don't even know what you're talking about. Okay, now I'm done. How about the Super Bowl, folks? Philadelphia, Kansas City Chiefs should be a banger of a Super Bowl. Philly's been on fire, man. They got their quarterback back. Hurts, guys on fire. Listen, I think it's going to be a hell of a game. We got Kansas City. Mahomes is beat up, sure, but listen, Mahomes beat up is still better than I'd say 70% of the quarterbacks in the NFL. So, anyways, I don't think we could have asked for much of a better matchup. Yeah, sure, it would have been great to see Joe Burrow in there in Cincinnati, have another kick at it, but just wasn't meant to be for Joe Burrow and the fellas. So anyways, you got Philly, you got KC. It's the worst thing. You get football from what? When's the NFL start? Like September, October? Anyways, Football, ram down your throat. And then all of a sudden, the biggest game of the year comes along. We're going to take a week off. Fuck that. Let's just get to the game and get it over with. We want to see the goddamn game. We don't want 2 weeks of hoopla. Oh, but don't worry, folks. We've got the Pro Bowl, by golly gee, where they're going to play flag football. Can't even make this stuff up. You're going to play goddamn flag football. Anyways, we'll see how that goes. I think the only good thing about that is the Peyton Manning brothers, Peyton and Eli, are the coaches for each team, and they're always good for some laughs. But I just think it's too long. 2 weeks in between the whole Super Bowl stuff is bullshit. Let's get to the goddamn game. My boy out at Edmonton who makes the greatest beer, he says, let's go KC. Yeah, I think I'm on the KC train too. I'm not a fan of either team really, but I'm a big fan of Mahomes. I love the way the guy plays football. He is pretty special to watch, and it is what it is. Go KC. All right. Lazy Sunday with Wade and Doe. Bondzee looking, what does it say? Bondzee looking more and more like Theo Fleury every day. How do you figure? I know that's Wade, because Doe wouldn't be so rude. And not that I'm not even saying it's rude, actually, because well, what's wrong with the way Theo Fleury looks? Probably he's a handsome fella, isn't he? No? I'm pretty handsome, I think, now. I'm starting to love myself more, okay? The sober I get, the more I'm really starting to like sober Bondzee. He's a pretty good fella. Who knew? Over 3 weeks now. Anyways, good for me. It's not a big deal. It's not something I'm going to sit here and rant about anymore. All right. I think I got one more picture to show. This is pretty cool, actually, and I think I have the video to go with it. But check this out. This showed up in the skies, and I can't even make this up. It's exactly how it turned out in the sky. Some Japanese telescope captures this image of a mysterious spiral flying over Hawaii. I do have the eerie video, I believe. Let me find it. You gotta have patience here now, folks, because I'm flying solo, like I said. Oh, here it is right here. You gotta check this out. This is pretty wild. Except I gotta figure out how to do it again. Share screen, and it's this one. Watch this. As I hope it's playing, I can't see everything all at once. There we go. No, I gotta take the picture off. Okay, look, it's check out this all the shooting stars in the sky, by the way. Anyways, the video that you'll see here again in a second, this was taken at times 48 laps. It starts sort of left center of the screen as that super bright star that's sort of moving to the left there, and continue to watch what happens with this thing. Now you see sort of that thing just sort of circled around it, and now it's getting bigger and bigger. Check out all the shooting stars too. It's pretty wild. Fascinated by this stuff. Anyways, look at this thing. It's getting bigger and bigger. Now look at. The fuck is that? Fascinating. Check out all the stars, by the way. Anyway, they're just darting all over the place. Anyways, I don't know what the hell we just saw. It started as this little sort of bright dot, turned into some spherical thing, and it's floating away into outer space right before our eyes. Pretty wild video, to say the least. Yeah, I don't know. Fascinating stuff. I don't know about you guys, but I am a big time believer in this whole UFO stuff and aliens. And I think we're closer than ever before to having contact with them. I really do. Am I crazy? I'm a huge Howard Stern fan. I think that's pretty well known. I've talked about him for years on this show. There's one thing I can't agree with him on, and he's so naive to think that, listen, we're this tiny itty bitty fucking speck in space, in an infinity of time up there, darkness and stars and planets. And we're to think we're the only human life or life of any kind in all of that madness up there in space? No fucking way. No way. Anyways, I am looking forward to meeting and talking to and having an alien on my show one day. You heard it here first. I really think it's going to happen. I do. All right. What else we got? Okay, I played that video. Let's get to some videos before I get the hell out of here. This is awesome right here. This is overload of cuteness, but also be afraid, fellas. Be afraid, especially your not you, but your young sons. Watch.
Down, Jack, I took it down.
You took him down? Why? What did he say?
Because kids don't get married, so that's why I put a headlock down him in.
Did he say he wanted to marry you?
Yeah, but kids don't get married, so that's why I put a headlock down him in. And that's why I took him down.
I don't think you're supposed to do that.
That's the greatest thing ever.
What happened?
That's the greatest thing ever, she says. Ah, bless her little heart. Her parents look like they got their heads full for the future, that's for sure. What else we got? This video made me laugh. Now, you got to listen carefully at the end of this video because it's the best part. Mind you, this whole video is the best part. Watch this. Oh, that had to hurt. Sorry, I got it up here. Watch. We'll play it from the in full again.
Are you okay? Why? Don't do that.
You fucking do it on purpose.
Listen.
Are you okay? Why? Don't do that.
You fucking do it on purpose.
I didn't fucking do it on purpose. Man, did he ever hit the fucking R there? Holy cripes. Anyway, so lady, why would you do that? Awesome video. That made me laugh for sure. Okay, one more. This is awesome. I found some footage of Army Chris dancing earlier, and you got to check this out. Watch this. Oops, wrong video. Hold on. I got to stop sharing that one. I buggered up here. See, oh, no, I'm not used to running this shit on my own, so bear with me. Which one is it? It's not that one. It's not that one. I lost it. Oh, well, let's play this one. This one's pretty wild. I don't know what the hell's going on here, but sorry, folks, bear with me. This is pretty crazy. Watch. What the fuck damn hell is going on here? Buddy almost broke his ankle trying to get out for his skate in this barn. That's some entrance onto an arena, isn't it? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but this looks like a beer league. That's some old barn. Holy shit. When you're playing a beer league, there's usually some wobbly pops involved. This just doesn't look right. Buddy almost went ass over tea kettle. If you watch it again and I figure that his ankle literally almost folded into 4 pieces. Anyways, I thought that was pretty wild. That's one hell of a barn. All right. That's it. I've had enough. It's an hour and 3 minutes long. I really appreciate everybody joining the show tonight. A huge thank you to my guy, Jonas Lewis Anthony, lead singer from The Wilderness. What a great band out of Kingston. You got to go check them out, folks. You can check them out all the social medias, YouTube as well. You got to check out the live performance from the Isabel. That was, I think that just 3 nights ago. So check it out while it's fresh. And, yeah, make sure you follow him on the social medias as well. And when there's new songs, video, anything coming out, tour dates, I'll be sure to let you know. Oh, actually, you know what? Tomorrow, folks, I just saw my son was watching. He commented. Tomorrow, you got to check this out. I'll be posting it all over my social medias. Ty Bond, check him out on YouTube, Instagram, the whole 9 yards, Twitter. Tomorrow, he's dropping a badass video. It's called Wanna Know. And this was filmed out in LA and in the Mojave Desert. It looks like a Hollywood goddamn production. I don't know if I can. I thought I had the friggin' preview up. Let me see if I can do this real quick before I get out of here, and we can play the trailer for it. I had it. Let's see, real quick. Bear with me, 2 seconds. See, this is where my producer would come in real handy right about now. Fuck, I can't find it. Oh, there it is, right there. I gotta pause that. I gotta go to here. Bear with me. It would be 2 seconds. Here we go. Boom, boom, and check this out. Epic. Absolutely epic. Tomorrow, make sure you check it out on YouTube. It'll be dropping. I'm not sure what time. He's in LA right now, so 3 hours difference. As soon as it drops, I'll play it for you. I'll share it with you. Make sure you check it out for sure. Ty Bond, that's my guy. Love him to death. What a wicked video. I can't wait to see the entire thing for sure. All right. Again, huge thanks to Jonas from the Wilderness. Make sure you check him out. And fuck Greta Thunberg, whatever her name is. And what else? Oh, Thursday, don't forget, we have Cam from the lead singer from the band Cazador, another great band out of Kingston. And then next week we have just a show on Thursday as I'm traveling Tuesday night to parts unknown in Buffalo. But we've got this awesomeness. She's actually from the Niagara Falls area, just across the border from Buffalo. She goes by the name Beer League Beauty on Instagram. Folks, do yourself a favor, check her out. She's got some amazing content. And don't let the pictures fool you and stuff. This girl's got some mad skills for sure with a puck. You should see her go. Dangle the panties off you, she will. All right, that's next Thursday. Beer League Beauty. Can't wait to talk to her. She's super awesome. All right, that's it. That's all. The show's brought to you real quick by Scramble Clothing. That's Scramble with a K. Make sure you go check them out, folks. They got great clothing wear. They got hats, t-shirts, golf wear, surf wear. They got women's apparel, men's apparel, kids apparel. Check them out online, www.scramblewithakclothing.com. Also on Instagram, be sure to check them out at Scramble Clothing. All right, they really do have some sick stuff for sure. There's my boy out in Palm Desert, Rob, aka Mr. Squad Life model for Scramble Golf. And also the show's brought to you by my other son's clothing line, Brad Bond. It's called Don't Trip Your Fine. Folks, you can get yourself a fine hoodie. All different colors. You can also get cool toques like that. T-shirts, hoodies, any color, any way you want. Just hit them up. It's www.don'ttripyourfine.com. Place your orders. Get them in now. All right, that's it. That's all. Hope you have a great rest of the week. We'll see you Thursday night. Cazador, don't forget. Peace and love. Bye.
What was that?
That was very strange.
It was very weird.
Peculiar.
It was kind of amusing.
Yes, it was rather funny.
It was incredibly funny.
I loved it.
Hilarious. Wonderful.